Welcome to Beau Eminent channel. A historical perspective on societal expectations of male emotional resilience is offered. In a world that often celebrates toughness, resilience, and self-reliance, men carry an invisible weight. Behind these expectations lies a silent struggle, the fight to maintain mental strength while navigating an emotional landscape they're rarely encouraged to express. Thanks for watching. Request you to subscribe. The channel provocative question hook. Why have men, throughout history, been told to man up? We've been conditioned for centuries to suppress our emotions, believing true strength means silent suffering. But what if this age-old narrative is actually a hidden crisis, impacting men's mental well-being more than we ever realized? The burden of the Stoic mask. Unpacking the historical origins of "men don't cry," from ancient warrior cultures to Victorian ideals. Examining how literature and media throughout history reinforced the Stoic male archetype. Exploring the personal cost of suppressing emotions, setting the stage for understanding its impact. The unseen scars. Modern-day impacts connecting historical expectations to contemporary issues like higher suicide rates and reluctance to seek help among men. Analyzing how this Stoic ideal manifests in relationships, careers, and personal well-being today. Presenting recent statistics and research on men's mental health to underscore the urgency of the conversation. Challenging the narrative. Redefining strength. Showcasing examples of public figures and movements that are openly discussing male vulnerability and mental health. Exploring the benefits of emotional intelligence for men, a new definition of strength. Discussing actionable steps for individuals and communities to support men in opening up. Building a more resilient future. Offering practical advice and resources for men struggling with mental health challenges. Encouraging a cultural shift towards embracing emotional expression as a cornerstone of genuine strength. A strength that isn't seen. Mental strength is often misunderstood. It isn't the absence of fear, stress, or doubt, it is the ability to keep moving despite them. Many men experience anxiety, depression, burnout, and loneliness, yet feel pressured to conceal these vulnerabilities. The message they hear, from childhood playgrounds to adult workplaces, is simple but damaging: don't show weakness. But silence is not strength. Silence is survival. And survival is not the same as living well. The cost of carrying everything alone. Bottled emotion takes a toll. It can manifest as anger, withdrawal, unhealthy habits, or sudden emotional collapse. These signs are often misread or overlooked, even by the men experiencing them. The world expects steadiness from men, so they demand it of themselves, sometimes to the point of breaking. This silent battle is one many men fight privately at night, in their cars, or in the quiet moments between responsibilities. It is a struggle that deserves acknowledgement, not stigma. The power of community and compassion. Men don't need to face this struggle alone. The path forward is built on connection, communities that listen without judgment, relationships that encourage openness, and cultures that see emotional expression not as weakness, but as courage. When men are allowed to speak, supported when they struggle, and accepted when they feel imperfect, society becomes stronger too. A small story. One friend, Daniel, had spent years trying to hold together a relationship with a woman who constantly belittled him. She mocked his dreams, dismissed his feelings, and made him believe that his emotions were burdens. Daniel stayed silent because he thought good men were supposed to be patient, forgiving, and strong enough to endure anything. But over time, the insults carved into his confidence. By the time the relationship ended, he no longer recognized himself. He looked strong on the outside, but inside he felt like he had been quietly unraveling for years. Another friend, Liam, had loved deeply and trusted fully, only to be betrayed by someone he believed would never hurt him. The betrayal wasn't just the loss of love, it was the loss of safety. He found himself questioning why he wasn't enough, wondering if something was wrong with him. But he kept all of it private, because society rarely gives men a space to grieve emotional wounds. People assume men move on easily, but Liam knew that wasn't true. Some heartbreak doesn't hit loudly, it hits slowly, silently bruising the heart from the inside. Michael had always been the type of man people described as solid. The kind of friend who showed up early to help you move, the coworker who volunteered to fix problems no one else wanted, the family member who never complained, even when life pressed heavily on his shoulders. On the outside, he looked like the definition of strength, calm, reliable, unshaken. But what no one saw was the quiet storm he carried inside, a storm he had learned to hide long before he understood how much it cost him. Michael realized that many men around him had been hurt not because they were weak, but because they had loved with sincerity. They had given trust, loyalty, and their best intentions, only to be left with unanswered questions and quiet scars. What made their pain heavier was the lack of understanding from the world. A woman's heartbreak is met with comfort, support, and empathy. A man's heartbreak is often met with silence, or worse, jokes. That loneliness can cut deeper than the pain itself. Yet through these shared stories, something powerful happened. These men began to see that their feelings were real and valid. They learned that being hurt didn't make them any less masculine. It made them human. And as they spoke openly, they discovered a new kind of strength, one born not from pretending, but from being honest about the wounds life had given them. Michael realized that part of men's mental strength comes from surviving pain they're told they should never feel. But it also comes from breaking that silence and rewriting the unspoken rules. He understood now that men don't need to endure quietly. They don't need to hide heartbreak, betrayal, or emotional harm behind a mask of toughness. Strength is not suffering, it is healing. A call to listen because in the end, whether the pain comes from life, from society, or from someone they once loved, men deserve space to express their hurt just as much as anyone else. And the more they speak, the less silent the struggle becomes, for themselves and for every man walking the same lonely road. This is the evolution of men's mental strength. Not silent, but supported, not hidden, but honored, not hardened, but deeply, defiantly alive.